Welcome everyone tonight to our online interview, Athletes and the Power of Nutrigenomics. It's a privilege to have you on tonight to listen to our guest speak. And my name is Melinda Pearson. I live in the Albury-Wodonga region and I'm blessed to work as a midwife and also as a wellness entrepreneur with LifeVantage. I love mountain biking and taking my dog Patches for walks. And to get us started, tonight's guests include athletes Rick Crow and Andrea Oliver, who I have the privilege of working with in this nutrigenomics industry. And tonight's focus is on nutrigenomics and using that to maximize our training, boost our recovery, and optimize our performance. So we're going to hone in on this area of nutrigenomics to focus on how we can use nutrition to activate certain pathways in our bodies, specifically NRF2 and NRF1. And don't worry if that doesn't make much sense at the moment. It'll make sense later as we get started. So to begin tonight, I'd like to introduce you to Rick Crow. Rick Crow is married to Madeline with their 4 beautiful children, and he loves the outdoors, sports and adventure activities. He and his family have been living on the Sunshine Coast for the past 6 years, and he's been participating in any form of multi-sport ranging from adventure racing, Xterra, trail running, road running, and triathlons, and has been participating actively and competing over the last 26 years. That's almost as long as I've been alive. That's very impressed. I'm very impressed. He has done several Ironman distance racing as well as half Ironmans. So Rick, welcome. Now, I understand that your life must be quite busy being professional and, an athlete, triathlete, say that again, and dad of 4. How long have you been enjoying being an athlete, and what do you love most about it?
Thank you, Melinda. It's a great opportunity. You're always so positive and bubbly. Thank you for this audience as well. Well, my journey started actually in school many years ago, and I was an athlete, and from there in the army, I did some duathlon or biathlon, which is swimming and running. And from there, obviously some uni, and then I got exposed to the different levels and Xterras, trail running, swimming, actually swam for the uni as a swimmer. And then obviously got exposed to triathlon and just in love, loved it. Love the fact that you meet like-minded people, love the fact that you're outdoors, love the fact that you're in nature, you can explore. So it's just an awesome kind of lifestyle. The Ironman distances and half Ironman distances and half marathons is later in life, probably from my 25 and up. And Ironman is not the SLCC club kind of Ironman. It's swimming, cycling, running. I don't know for the speakers, I just clarify. It's not power weights and so forth. It's 3.8 swim, 180 bike, and 42 running. And yes, it required discipline and it required a lot of effort and long weekends. I remember when my kids were still much smaller, we had 4 kids and all 4 of them under the age of 6. So a typical day would be you start off to a spin bike session and then do a mid-afternoon swim during lunch, and then at night take the kids and throw them in the runner, and 2 at a time kind of thing. So yeah, that's a short background.
Fascinating. It's something that I'm, as an everyday person, I'm not used to that sort of lifestyle, and it's really, I really appreciate hearing that and what you do. So to get us started tonight, can you unpack this concept of nutrigenomics in a nutshell, and how does it apply to athletes? And along with that, is nutrigenomics only something that's important for athletes?
Nutrigenomics is critical, and that's actually the science which impacts the gene expression. Lots of things impact gene expression, e.g. good diet or junk food, lifestyle. And genes is much more than male or female or blue hair and blue eyes and blonde hair. It is about the instruction that those cells receive. That's the expression. That's critical, and it's critical for athletes as well as everybody else. And it's the science behind how nutrition can upregulate those good genes and effectively again activate those youth pathways. My aha moment was in 2017 when we started with Nerve 2. I was on a good diet. I slept well, trained well. I had a happy, my spirit, my mindset was good. But my cells were still struggling, keeping up with the demand. And we had the best supplements. I was even sponsored at some point in time. I competed at a national level abroad, and I had good sponsorship at some times. And when I went on Nerve 2, the activation of that special pathway, I achieved my best, my personal best last year in swimming. So this is not supplementation. This is activation, and that was a huge aha moment for me. That after 26 years of focusing on whole foods and focusing on disciplined training and focusing on one's lifestyle, I'd actually humbly admit that there's something else to learn.
Wow. I love that. So it sounds to me like nutrigenomics and this understanding of nutrition impacting our genes, it sounds like it's all about helping the body to find its balance point, where the body is able to perform, recover, and then perform again more quickly. And one thing that can throw that balance out is something called oxidative stress. And so what is oxidative stress, and why do athletes need to manage their oxidative stress?
It's critical for athletes to manage any free radical presentation and in the form, and the condition is called oxidative stress. Oxidation to metal causes rust, and the same to the body. It's the same with when you cut an apple open and you have the brown occurring. You want to reduce that. So an increased number of oxidative stress for athletes, obviously, compared to normal exercise, that increase actually makes us oxidative stress machines, in a sense. So we've got vast number of oxidative stress to get rid of, and whole foods, like in the form of berries or oranges or whatever, combats it 1-to-1, one free radical for one antioxidant. But if you can switch on your youth pathways through this NRF2 switch, then you can fight it at a much higher combat level. So there's other factors also that impacts oxidative stress, and that is environmental factors, toxins, EMF waves, your mindset, and even stress. The normal stress is not good. That all causes oxidative stress.
That's fascinating. So we have this process of breathing and creating oxidative stress just simply because we're alive, but you're going that step further and saying, I'm really going to put my body under that stress because I want to achieve certain things. So with high levels of oxidative stress comes increased oxygen consumption, and as the cells get fired up faster. So the harder the engine works, the more exhaust fumes that happen, and so more oxidative stress. So how many hours a day are you out training, and how do you combat those high levels of oxidative stress?
For a normal, when one is training for a competition, it's 5 hours a day, ramping up to 25 a week, or for half Ironman, 2/3 of that. It's critical for the recovery using NRF2. Obviously, the sooner you recover, the sooner you can start train again. And the level of your intensity determines the exertion rate for every athlete. So that exertion rate needs to come down, and then that will improve your intensity for the next level and your ability to do it at a higher level or to an improved level. So NRF2 helps reduce the oxidative stress side of it, and NRF1, which you can add to it, obviously then builds more fuel energy to help with the recovery of that. Oxidative stress is actually something that causes aging. And aging is not a question of gray hair and wrinkles when you're old. Aging is your cell ages, and the process kicks in after our 20s. Oxidative stress is a process of the pathway that switches off. The nerve 2 pathway switches off in our 20s, 25, 20s. So that pathway needs to be activated again in order to benefit from those 1 to a million and better free radical fighting. So if you compare a 5-year-old, they're resilient. They can fall over and they can just get back up. If you compare that to a 90-year-old, if somebody falls, that's the difference between aging. It's not gray hair and wrinkles. It's the ability to the body to heal itself, or the ability to the body to function optimally and prevent aging.
So it sounds like we're using this pathway NRF2 to try and switch on our youth genes again. And I mean, we think about those people. I look after them in the hospital as a nurse as well. It's my other thing that I do. But they're like you said, they're 90. Their muscle has wasted. They don't have the same bone density. They're not able to perform and function as what they did when they were 20. So this is what we're trying to do, is to slow down this aging process, and also at the same time is to be able to perform better and recover faster. And this NRF2 is something I'd never heard about as a nurse and a midwife. I'd never heard
Melinda, you've got it disconnected there.
NRF2 product, and it's actually times and my muscles are recovering faster as well. So I think there's something to be said for that. So we've got this product called Protandem NRF2. What makes it special? Did you get my question, Rick?
Melinda, I got part of your questions. There's a lot of disconnect. I don't know if some of our viewers got all that, but the question in brief was, what is NR2 and just what does it make? What makes it special? Well, NRF2 is a pathway that obviously stops functioning optimally after your 20s, 20, 25. It's a pathway, it's a youth pathway that helps the body makes its own antioxidants, and that is critical. It creates glutathione and SODs, which is superoxide dismutase, which is a super antioxidant, and that antioxidant combats free radicals on a cellular level 1 to 1,000,000. You just can't get that from you need to eat your whole foods, but you can't get it in the same ratio. So the product, what makes it so special is the fact that it's all natural, and it consists of herbs, 5 herbs to be exact, and it's approved by the Banned Substance Control Group in Australia, which is excellent for athletes. And those ingredients is bicopa, which is excellent for brain function and memory; ashwagandha, which is great for mood; turmeric, which is anti-inflammatory; and then green tea, which increases your metabolism, which obviously then reduces fat percentage and increases your overall metabolism. And then milk thistle, which assists with detoxification. Great for athletes. Great for everybody. The product also has if my memory serves me right, it's got an 18 times better performance than any of its competition. It's got a synergistic effect between the herbs, which is absolutely fabulous. So it just beats the competition 18 times. Very effective.
That's fascinating. So it's really what sets this product apart is the synergistic effect of those 5 herbs in a low dose ratio that's maximized through the power of synergy.
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing that. So I would imagine that your job would require you to be quite physically at the top of your game with so many competitions and things that you're doing with your body. So what do you do to fuel and help repair the energy powerhouse or the mitochondria in your cells?
Mitochondria, I use NRF1, which is also a pathway product which switches on a pathway. The mitochondria is actually energy blocks for each cell, and the normal body consists of 37 trillion cells, with each cell consisting of several thousand up to maybe 100,000 mitochondria per cell. So it's critical for those mitochondria to function optimally for you to be in a position to gain strength, power, and endurance. So mitochondria assists with building more ATP. It assists in fuels for the cell, which is fuels for the cell. It helps with recovery, and as a result, my personal, like I said, it just superly increased my swimming times after I started using Nerve 1.
That's fascinating. So it sounds like the combination of the two activators is like having a nice sports car. NRF2 is like managing, preventing and slowing the rust, and the NRF1 is the equivalent of putting quality fuel in the engine. They like work like a 1-2 punch. You need both. So
Exactly.
Is there anything else that, yeah, thank you for that. Is there anything else that you do particularly to support your body to be at optimal performance?
Of critical importance is the digestive system. So if you haven't got a great digestive system, you're going to suffer from absorbing good nutrition. And I also use a product from Livantage called ProBio. And the reason for that is to ensure that your small intestines and large intestines got great absorption. And the product is a slow release, and the stomach acids can't get to the product before it reaches the intestines, which is great. It takes about 52 minutes before the product starts to break down, and then release the great probiotics, which then obviously cause your intestines to be in a more natural or balanced state, which then obviously causes your body to be in a position of absorbing great nutrition and great activation.
That's perfect. So you've got the NRF1, the NRF2, and the ProBio. So when you're taking the probiotic, that's actually helping your NRF1 and NRF2 to be absorbed. So you're maximizing the amount of product that you're taking to get the best result. So
precisely, so many people suffer from gut issues, maybe because they're using too much wheat or gluten. So it's critical for the digestive system to be intact.
Yeah, absolutely. And what differences have you observed in your athletic performance and recovery since using these products?
Well, I've training, obviously, feel more powerful, feel more resilient, endurance is better, and the recovery is better. And I've maybe if I can use an example, I've started on Nerve 2 in 2017, and exactly a year later, Nerve 1 wasn't available in Australia, so we've got it from America. I tried and I tried the supplement or the activation, and after a month, I remember I told my wife, "Goodness, this Nerve 1 gives me a lot more power in the water." Just to give comparison, I'm not a Michael Phelps or anything, but maybe a top 5 or top 10%. If I compare a time, I did a time in a 1 kilometer swimming at 14:30, 14:20, and after about 3 months using Nerve 1 activation, getting those energy blocks filled up, I did a 13:50, and that's after a 2K warm up in the pool. So both the same environments, both the same pool, great products.
That's fascinating. So you would say that this gives you an edge, taking the NRF1 and the NRF2 and the ProBio?
Yes, exactly. You can obviously against somebody that's not activating the youth pathways. You will definitely. I'm looking forward to the very optimistic to the long-term competing ability because of using these products, and especially from recovery and time recovery, and then your improved times. It's critical for athletes to have a great recovery. Otherwise, you can't have an effective training session. Your training, your competition actually starts during recovery. Your training, you just break off. You break down your body, and then your competition starts actually when you're recovering.
That's fascinating. I appreciate you sharing that, Rick. So I loved hearing how Nutrigenomics is giving you the competitive edge. And I'd like to leave it there as I welcome Andrea Oliver, who's going to share with us tonight about her story. So Andrea is a wife and mum of 2 beautiful girls, 12 and 5, and they immigrated from South Africa to the Sunshine Coast 11 years ago on a business owner visa. And they have worked long and hard to earn their permanent residency in Australia. They recently celebrated with a year-long trip around Australia, running numerous run events along the way. And Andrea's been a lover of sports and health and well-being, both body, mind, and soul, for as long as she can remember. So hello, Andrea, and welcome. So glad that you can join us tonight. So I can see that you are an avid sports lover and runner. And can you tell us more about your passion and what sort of sports you love?
Hey, Melinda, and everybody here this evening. Thank you so much for inviting me on for this conversation. It's been an absolute honor actually listening to Rick, and I feel like I should strap on my shoes and go for a run right now, actually. And that's how I get around anyone in the health and wellness industry. I'm just super passionate about all things health and wellness, especially uplifting others and really just letting other people see the potential in themselves, because I honestly believe that we all need an element of exercise in our daily regime or weekly regime in our lives to keep us optimally healthy. And so I tell everybody that you are an athlete in your own right, no matter what that looks like for you. I've always loved running. My favorite sort of thing at the moment is anything from 5K to half marathon is my competing sort of range. I do some track, I do some beach training, and really running is my happy place. Since activation, I think I've actually been on the product for about 2 years now, and I turned 40 a year ago, and I got my best ever 5K and my best ever 21K time in this moment. So I am like Rick, looking forward to the future of competing. And I tell everyone I'm going to be setting running records when I'm still 100 years old. So I'm really in it for the long haul.
Wow, that is fascinating. So that's like saying that you from your body and perform at optimal levels. It's just, yeah, you would normally think that.
Can you just repeat that? You just broke out right at the beginning.
Sorry about that. So it's like saying that the older that you get, the better you get, because you're supporting your body to perform at optimal levels because of the way that you're biohacking your cells. So just on that concept of biohacking, we discussed or understand that biohacking is this concept of using science to optimize our brain and body potential. And in particular, we're doing this through the concept of nutrigenomics. How did you come across these products and why did you start taking them?
I came across the products by absolute luck. I was actually searching for something for my husband who was unwell, and when I had an injury. I'd broken my elbow. I fell off a skateboard, funny enough, training for a half marathon, having a bit of a fun day. And so I couldn't train anymore, but I was adamant to get this elbow straight. And the doctors told me that that wasn't going to be the case. It was going to be that way forever. And I was taking about 6 capsules of turmeric every single day and using the power of my mind to try and straighten that up. And we had some Protandim in the cupboard that my husband had sort of left there. And I started taking it, and within 3 days, I was buzzing. I had a small child at the time, so I had terrible brain fog, and that all lifted, and I just had incredible energy. And that's pretty much how it started for me. I was coming back from injury, as I said, because I had the broken elbow, and every run that I did, I just felt stronger, and I felt like I could go again like after cool down, after 10 minutes of cool down, I felt like I could go again. So I knew there was something pretty special about that. I started looking at all the science and the reviews and learned about this incredible thing called glutathione, which is basically the mother of all antioxidants. And as Rick said earlier, you know, when we start aging, we start losing those processes in our body, and our body does produce glutathione. But that starts to deplete when we age. And when we activate our NRF2 pathway, we actually get our body to start producing those incredible antioxidants again, and therefore reducing those free radicals, which is the oxidative stress.
That's fascinating, because glutathione is so important, not just for athletes where we're talking about muscle recovery, detoxing, but we're also looking at perspectives of immune systems and supporting our body to be, just in general, at our optimal performance. And I've noticed in myself how much better my health is on an everyday level, so that I can get back out there and stay active. And that's really important, because if you're sick with a cold, you can't go out there and perform and train while your nose is all clogged up. Yeah, fascinating. So, Andrea, is there any studies that they did with these products and athletes? So what's the information around that?
There are actually some studies. I feel like we might challenge the company and get Rick and myself and a few other athletes to create some new studies, because we can definitely get some more happening. But there certainly is a couple out there, and there's one in particular that talks specifically about the athletes that are over 35 years old that have had increased well, specifically the superoxide dismutase and that, but basically for the layman's terms, increased antioxidant production during taking this product over 90 days and testing them over on 5K runs. And it kind of makes sense when you think about it, because we've talked already about the fact that it's when aging process begins that we start depleting. So that's when we really want to start activating our cellular pathways. And Rick mentioned it as well. You know, the old solutions was supplementation, giving vitamins, taking injections. The new way is activation, and that's what we're doing now and talking about now. So having that glutathione increased. I mean, it's said that glutathione is the most important molecule that we need to stay healthy, and we're increasing that by, I think, I'm not even sure if we're allowed to sort of stipulate the percentage in this country, but it's a huge percentage that we're doing. So we're doing ourselves a massive favor.
Yeah, that is so true. Thank you for sharing that. That's fascinating. So it's not just like they've gone out and said, well, it's really good. We haven't studied it. So they've actually done some research to show what it's able to do. So, simple question, do you have to be an athlete or avid sports enthusiast to use these biohacking products?
Oh gosh, absolutely not. I think it probably could even help you become an athlete. As I said, everyone is an athlete in their own right, and it can certainly help with so many things that you could step into a better life and a better zone, because you become optimal, you know, you're functioning more optimally. So if you've got any, and it doesn't matter who you are, you've got cells, they need activating. You've got oxidative stress, it needs reduction. So it is for everybody.
Great. That gives us all a really good, encouraging thing to know, that we can all benefit from that. So I'm guessing that people tonight have some questions that are probably in the back of their mind, just wanting to know. First of all, how long is it before we generally see results from taking these products?
It's really difficult to say, because everybody is different. And, you know, if you have somebody who's unwell or suffering some sort of ailments, it might take a longer process for them to really feel any different, especially for my husband, for example, who was already living under immense pain for 4 years before we found this product. It took him a couple of months to really sort of surface. I kind of feel like you're wearing concrete shoes and you're getting dragged down by the weight of whatever issue you're having, and it slowly chips away and you rise to the surface. Somebody like myself, who was already relatively fit and healthy, I just had lighter symptoms like the brain fog, and I work physically during the day as well as being an athlete, so I'm using my body quite a lot. I felt like I raised to the surface over a few days only. You know, I could honestly say in 3 days I could tell an incredible difference. So each person is different, but we do have a sort of guideline where it's a month for every decade you've been alive for the activation process to really start showing its effects, I suppose.
Yeah, Fantastic. So what you're saying is that it's not an overnight miracle. Gotcha. I think that's, so sometimes we take a product, we take, particularly if we go to the doctor, we get a medication and the next day things are different. This may be the case where we're doing this long term. We're committed to saying, I'm looking after my health for the long term. Our next question is, I eat pretty healthy. Why would I need to take these products?
I get this a lot, and especially in this field of athletes, because we all sort of feel like we are, already living our optimal and doing our best. And I actually, to be honest, I was probably that person as well, because when I bought the product, I never even thought of taking it for myself. It was for my husband. It was by fluke that I got to take it. But you can eat as healthy as you want. You still cannot combat, you cannot produce the antioxidants this product is allowing your body to produce. And therefore, you will not reduce the oxidative stress in the same level that we're doing with this. So it's great that you're already eating well. In fact, I commend people when they tell me that. I'm like, that's good. You're already on the perfect pathway. Imagine being more effective than you are now. Imagine feeling better. You don't think you can now, but if you give it a try, your body will be functioning better. There's no doubt about that.
Perfect. And I have to agree with you, because I was one of those people that actually purchased it because I thought, I need to give this a go. Everyone else is having really good results. I want to see what it's going to do for me, but I'm pretty healthy, so it probably won't do anything. Yeah, so that's honestly how the skeptic in me, how I approached it. And I definitely agree with what you're saying, Andrea. So thank you, Rick and Andrea, for sharing your valuable time and knowledge with us. And I really actually appreciated hearing your stories and how these products are changing your lives. And for our guests tonight, please feel free to get in contact with me to help you get started on these activators or to ask any questions. And or just stay tuned also for next month's Zoom. It's the last Thursday of the month. And what I'm planning at this point in time is changing lives with stories of activation. So we'd love to have you on then as well. It's now time for our Q&A, and you're welcome to stay or go. It's up to you. And thank you once again, everyone, for being on here tonight. I really value having you on.
Thank you, Melanie. Our pleasure.